welcome back to the summer updates. This is part 2. So what I want to run you through now is the electrical upgrades that we've done this summer to help us manage the power just a little bit more. So we haven't added any more solar panels, but what we want to do now is use the power that we've got a little bit more efficiently. So I'll talk you through it. Okay, so the first upgrade that we did is we were using heavy duty cable for power distribution to go from the batteries all the way down to the bottom of the polytunnel. The longest cable run down there is about 15 meters. And what happens is if you just use the small, like typical mains power cable, the voltage goes from 12 volts here and you can lose a whole volt by the time you've got to the other end of the polytunnel. And so a motor then down the other end is trying to run on 11 volts instead of 12 volts. And the effect of course is it runs a bit slower and you're using more power to drive it. So what we did is we've done an upgrade in here, and all of the cables now have been replaced. I did an experiment with some cable I already had, but basically all the cable runs now are done with 4mm cross-sectional speaker cable wire. So this is studio quality. It's like 280 strand, oxygen free, 4mm cable. So once that's in there now, the longest one, like I say, being 15-meter run, there's only maybe 0.1 or 0.2 of a volt voltage drop now down to the other end. So the motors, the pumps are running much more efficiently, and the system's using, or appears to be using, slightly less power. The second upgrade is this little controller here, and this is a low voltage trip switch. And what you can actually see, it's displaying the voltage there currently that's available to it. And what you can actually set is the voltage that it'll switch off at, and then the voltage it'll switch back on at. So at the moment I'm running an experiment, and it's actually controlling now the main hydroponic pump that we've got. It's a 6-amp pump. So at the moment the power is going from the battery through the low voltage trip switch, through this speed controller, and then that's controlling the main 6-amp pump. And I've got this now, so when this controller here sees 11.7 volts, it will drop out, it will switch off, and when it sees 12.1 volts again, it will switch back on. And what that means now is I don't have to come down here if the sun suddenly goes in, or we get a surprise thunderstorm. This will just take care of itself, and what it's doing, it'll switch off the main load that's been taking power off the batteries. So the intention is, we've actually got, these are the main channels that we've got here. We've got the big hydroponic pump, we've got the aquaponic pump, that's a small 1.7 amp pump. Then we've got the hydroponic gutters here. There's actually two pumps on here. There's one small little 10-watt pump, very, very similar to a USB pump, very, very weak pump, but it's good enough for the herbarium. Then we've got two fish tank pumps that are both 1.6, 1.7 amps. So what the intention is, if we have a very, very, very hard, dark day and we can't make any power, you must keep the fish alive at all costs. So what that will do, what I intend to do now, this is the first channel, so that's controlling the big pump. The next one will turn off the aquaponics. So what you do is, let's say if that's 11 volts down here, and let's say 12 volts up here, this controller will switch off when we get to here. The next pump would switch off and it will cascade, shutting the system down, but it will always leave the fish tank on. And when the sun comes back out again, it'll switch them back on in sequence, and that way it's automated. I don't have to come down here. That's it really. It's simple. I've just got to prove it works. So I've got the second one, so I'll be setting that next one up onto the aquaponic pump. So I'm just running, today is the first day that I've been running it on the big pump, and it's running, it's up. So that's it for part 2. That was the major upgrades that we've done on the electrics this year. Thank you for watching.